All right, welcome to Adventures in Pod. I'm your host, Ryan McGinnis. I'm a web designer, I'm an author, and I'm also the owner of an Etsy store that is powered by print on demand. Now, as we talked about in the first episode, I got my store online. I figured out a purpose for it, which I thought was important because I think with everything on the internet, but especially with stores and stuff, it's important to have something to set yourself apart from everybody else. Because there might be 5 million t-shirt shops, there might be 5 million authors, there might be 5 million web designers, but you have the unique thing to set yourself apart. And that's why you do what you do. You put your own unique spin on things. And so with my store, 217 Press, which you can find at 217press.etsy.com, I decided that I was going to not just do funny shirts, science shirts, book shirts, stuff that interested me, but I was also going to add human rights, which has always been a very important thing to me. And so I was going to do human rights shirts, and human rights causes, for shirts, and also donate some of the proceeds to charities that need it and that will help people, in the things that I'm interested in and that I want to help in. And that was my way of giving back. But as we talked about last episode, we launched the site and I actually put the site online, and my wife ordered a few shirts off of the store, which isn't necessary for us to get shirts. Like, I can order stuff from the back end of Printify and get it at cost, and that's how you get samples, and that's how you get shirts you can wear. And I'll have shirts soon, as soon as they're shipping right now. And I should get them soon so I can wear them on the show. But my wife ordered a couple shirts through the Etsy store that we set up, just to make sure everything worked right. This was kind of our test before an actual customer ordered. We wouldn't want anything to go wrong with them. And it was cool. The process worked good. She ordered them, no problem. Now, I have to tell you, when you set up an Etsy store and connect it to print on demand, Etsy and Printify connect really easy because they're business partners in some way. So it's really just clicking a button, sharing your login, and boom, you're off to the races. And you don't have to worry about setting up shipping in Etsy. You don't have to worry about setting up, what do they call them, variations in Etsy. It's all handled by print on demand, and you really don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And I will say that aspect of it is super easy. But you also have to hook up a bank account, and it helps if it's the same one. And you can do a credit card too, but I did a bank account just because that's, I'm not into the, credit card thing. I don't want to add to my credit debt. I don't want to, get charged interest. So I just hooked up to a bank account, because the way that I understand it, you hook up a bank account to Etsy, and this is the bank account that you get paid into. That's where the money goes in. And you hook that same account up to Printify, as the account where you get charged. So, so that's where the money goes out. So, if you have the same account set up, that's the way I looked at it anyways. You have the same account set up, money goes in, money comes out, simple, right? And that's how it's supposed to be. And I've seen a million people, when I was doing my research on print on demand, talk about how, it's a great business to start with no investment, and I've even heard of them, some of them say with very little investment. Now that's the ones that are being a little more truthful, because here's the fact. Here's how it works. Here's what we found out when my wife did the test. Etsy tells you when you set up your payment stuff that you can get paid monthly, you can get paid weekly, you can get paid daily. So I picked daily because my thought was, get the sale, the money goes in, do the printing on print on demand, the money goes out. And so simple, money in, production costs go out, you're left with profit, right? That's how it's supposed to work. Only here's how it actually works. And I don't know if anybody's talked about this on YouTube, but here's how it actually works. My wife purchased these shirts. She bought 2 shirts. And the money minus all the service charges that Etsy does, and Etsy charges quite a bit. I mean, way more than it used to. There's service fees, there's sales fees, whatever. There's a percentage they take, and there's ways you can mitigate that. But we'll talk about that in future episodes. But anyway, the net amount from Etsy is shown in your wallet, but it is not deposited into your bank account yet. What I found out is that Etsy actually holds the money until the order ships. Okay, and in this case, it held the money. The sale was done toward the end of January, and the money, Etsy didn't put the money in the account until like February the 8th, right? Which was, I mean, like a day or two after my wife had received the product. I mean, I don't know why they do that. They do that in case there's something wrong with the product, in case there's a return, in case, all that jazz. But in the meantime, Printify does not wait. Printify, the minute the order hits their system and begins processing, they take the money out of your account, which I did not realize it worked like that. So it's money out, and then you have to wait on the money to come in. So the money from production cost comes out of that account instantly. And within an hour. Like if you set it to, you can set your processing time. But however long your processing time is, if you set it for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, a day, whenever the processing hits the account, the money goes out. And then you have to wait, weeks for Etsy to put the money in. And so that's, that takes a bit of planning, that takes a bit of logistics, because I had put some money in that account, but I didn't expect it to take a hit before the other money went in. It's kind of like a cash register where you put your till in, you put your money in to start the night, so you've got like a base amount in there, like whether it's $100, $200, whatever. And, so now money comes out of that. So as I told my wife, if we had a shirt go viral, or if we had something sell a lot, we would have to move some more money into that account quickly, because otherwise, that runs into all kinds of problems. But the other thing we found out is that, let me back up. Because of that, I will tell you guys, if you do this thing, if you do Etsy and print on demand, be sure whatever bank account you hook up, make sure there is money in that account. Or hook up a credit card. It's whatever you're comfortable with. Personally, I hooked up a bank account, and we just went from there. But whatever you're comfortable with. But if you think you're not going to have to invest any money, that's not quite true, because you're going to have some money in that account at the very least. And that's what we found out. Also, I found out in the meantime, Etsy delays the payment until the person receives it. But in the meantime, if you upload more products, when you upload products, it's you get charged 20 cents per product. That goes goes up on Etsy. So those charges for uploading products get taken out of your net on Etsy. So you might start out, if somebody buys, let's say somebody buys a shirt and your net from that is like $24, but you upload a bunch of products in the meantime. Well, when it comes time for them to pay you, you might only get paid $14. Because your money's coming out of there. So you have to watch that too. So those are things, that's, it's a process, and I'm learning, the other thing I learned, it came to February the 8th, and I'm like, okay, now they're going to deposit the money. And I get a notice from Etsy that the money is being deposited into my account, and it's going to take 3 to 5 business days. So after waiting for weeks for Etsy to pay me, I now find out it's going to be 3 to 5 business days before the money hits my account. So, keep all that in mind. Keep all that in mind. If you're going to do print on demand through Etsy, it's not quite the same as, I have, and I'll talk about this in a future episode. For my author business, I used a Printify print on demand, or not print on demand, a Printify pop-up shop, which is just a page that Printify generates that you can just put a link to on your website, and you can sell your products that way from Printify. If you do it that way, then when you get orders, which I've gotten a few orders through the author store, that money, the net, your profit, basically, like Printify charges the sales tax, the full amount, sales tax, shipping, all that, and then they just take the profit, like whatever your profit margin is, and they send that to you pretty much instantly. So that way's better to me as far as getting paid. But you also, run into the same problem you do with a website where you're just sitting out there in the ether and you have to direct people to your site. You have to spend a ton of money on marketing to get people to go to your site. Whereas on Etsy, you already get the traffic. So, we'll see. It's still a work in progress. That was definitely one thing that was a hurdle I didn't expect to have to cross. But, it's how it goes. You live and learn. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this episode up. Thank you guys. I hope you learned something today. If you're digging the podcast, if you're digging the channel, please like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. And if you have any questions about print on demand, throw them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them in the future. But otherwise, you guys have a great day.